PK52, the Saturday morning meeting. Hey, continuation phase 3 of incoming phone calls, digital incoming messaging to the customer. Let's continue on. First of all, recap of where we are so far. We're writing a word track, not a script. So you're going to look at the word track and you're going to look at what each word, each sentence means, why we ask it, and then you're going to write your own. Or if you exactly love this word for word, then it's yours, you can use it. So we started out by sales information. This is Casey. What vehicle have you selected? Sales information, the right place, the reason they called. What vehicle have you selected? They said in our first couple of sessions that we've had, Camry. Great, spelling of your last name and your first, so we both have the same information. Please grab a pen and something to write on. Jot this down. My name is Casey. Also write down ABC Toyota. You calling from home or work. So now that's where we are. You can watch phase 2 and you can catch up with that word track. I didn't want to spend a whole lot of time. I want to jump into the continuation. So we got their number, or we didn't. If they say, I'm not going to give you my number, that's fine. You say, you know what, I want to work a little harder, give you all the information you need. Information is the reason they called, and I'll ask for your number again at the end. Hopefully I've earned it. I don't have a problem with having a casual conversation because I don't have to remember my word track because I've done it so many times that I know exactly where to come back once the customer allows me to speak again. Remember, the most important words come out of the customer's mouth, not yours. Make sure you're attentive and you're listening to what their actual request is. If the only goal is to set an appointment, I can hire anybody to do that. You set an appointment, the customer never shows up. What I want to do is I want to have a conversation with every single person and give them a reason to come to me because I was the person that supplied the information exactly how they wanted that information. So, let's continue. Word track. You're interested in a Camry. Pretty amazing that I know that, but I asked so rapidly in the beginning, what vehicle have you selected? They said Camry. It's in my mind. I wrote it down, and so I'll bring it back up. So what I want to do now is I want to find out what they know about a Camry. I don't want to ask, I don't want to assume that I'm the smartest person on earth on the Camry. They may have been researching this thing for a couple of months, and they may be well equipped to know everything about every Camry. So next line, I would say, great. Are you interested? You're interested in a Camry? Great. That's a fish. Let me write it down. I'm so excited they chose a Camry. One reason is because I actually know the car and I can help them. The next thing is I'm going to say, are you looking at the luxury or sports edition? I know that's breaking the Camry down very, very slim as far as what we offer, but they come back and they go, I'm looking at the sports edition or I'm looking at the XSE, and that's fine. So I know it, and now I know they know the model, they know the trim and everything, and so I come down and I go, they say sports edition, I come back, please write down Camry with the XSE package. And then I go, good choice, which is a good choice. I actually agree with that's a fantastic car. So it shouldn't be hard for me to go, good choice, great choice. That is absolutely a phenomenal choice. Again, what that does is that makes sure that my attitude, remember, they can't see my face. They can't see my hand motions. They can't see how excited I am to be doing business with them. All they have is a voice. And if my voice becomes plateaued and droning on, then why would they stay on the phone conversation? If they know they're talking to somebody that's really excited about their choice, then I'm going to continue the conversation. Again, to continue the conversation. Good choice. Which model have you driven? And I'm going to come back to this. Which model have you driven? I've driven the XSE. Okay, now I know that they've either driven it from a friend, somebody they work with, or they've been to another dealership. Or they say, I haven't had a chance to drive it yet. So either way, I've driven it, I haven't had a chance to drive it. So in your mind right now, how would I respond to each one of those? I haven't had a chance to drive it. Great. Initially, you want to go, come on down today and drive the car with me. Again, that whole demo drive thing. Wait a minute, why are you in such a hurry? They've not even committed to coming to the dealership yet. So if they say that, I write down, which model have you driven? And they say, I have not. I go, what have you heard? So I just throw a question back at them. I go, great, which model have you driven? And they go, I haven't driven one yet. I said, well, what have you heard about it? Then, I don't know, maybe I should write this down. Once you ask this question, shut up. Because what they're going to do is say, well, you know what, I've got a friend that has one, my dad just bought one, I've got a sister that lives in Denver and she's got one, she told me I really need to come look at it. And so you can expound on any of that. What did they say? What does your family say about the car? Why did they tell you really need to look at this? Find out all the information they need, because the information they already have in their brain is better than any information that you can give them right now, because that's stuff that they've heard from a credible source, my sister, my dad, my friend at work, versus a salesperson they've never met before. So remember, that information is key. So let me go down, I'll write this down. What have you heard? They say, I have driven the car. So immediately you're going like, oh, I got competition with another dealership. No. It's a good thing. It's a really good thing, because every manager says go on a demo drive. So the good news is they've already been on a demo drive. They've driven the car. Which model have you driven? I said, I've driven the XSE. What did you like most? And then code word, shut up. So, I haven't driven it. What have you heard? I have driven it. What did you like most? Think about what we've done right here. Sales information. This is Casey. What vehicle have you selected? Great spelling your last name and your first. So we both have the same information. Grab a pen and something to write on. Jot this down. My name is Casey. And also write down ABC Toyota. Are you calling for home or work? And that number is? So you're interested in a Camry. Great. Are you looking for a luxury sports edition? Please write down Camry with the XSE package. Good choice. Which model have you driven? Oh, really? Well, when you drove that car, what did you like most? Think about all the information they have right here. And let me break it down. What do they have written down on that piece of paper? And if you think real carefully, you'll be able to tell me. So they have written on that piece of paper. Write down, first thing, this is Casey. What vehicle is selected? You're spelling your last name, so we both have the same information. Write my name down. So they have KC. They have ABC Toyota. They have Camry with the XSE package. That's what you think they have written down. I'm telling you that's not right. What they have written down on their piece of paper is who they're going to buy the car from, where they're going to buy, and what they're going to buy. I promise you, all of you, you can only listen to what I'm telling you. I've done this class nationwide for years. During this class, I make live phone calls to dealerships. I'll call a Chevrolet store, I'll call a Honda store, I'll call a Toyota store outside the area where I am. I don't want to crush anybody's soul at your own store. I'll call a Highline, BMW or Mercedes or a Lexus store, and it's amazing that nobody on the phone gets this much information. And it doesn't matter if the word track is written down like this and it's this exact word track. It matters that when I end the conversation with the customer, they now know who they're going to buy it from, where they're going to buy, and what they're going to buy, and we both have the same information and we have an agreement to continue. Give me a second and let me give you a little bit more on this third phase of incoming phone call and incoming digital. Okay, to continue. I'm not foolish enough to think that every single person that contacts you digitally or every person that calls you on the phone is going to be on the phone with you for 30 minutes. However, I do feel like that we should be as complete as possible, because if the customer does remain on the phone or there's a second or third contact, there's some other information that I'd like to have. So let me finish up with what I call piling on or adding on. Remember, the first part of the most important thing is I want them to know me, the dealership, and I want them to have written down the stuff we've talked about. That's my goal right there, so that we can have an agreement to continue. But the customer's still on the phone with me, there's more information I'd like to have, or the second or third contact, I'm going to start asking these questions. So let me move on. Do you have to buy today? I love that question. Do you have to buy today? They go, no, I'm not going to buy for a couple of weeks. That means that if they ask you for a specific vehicle that you do not have in stock, a specific color or a trim level, then there is no heat on you to supply that vehicle for them today. You can always come back to that line. Do you have that vehicle in stock right now? And I said, you know what, you told me earlier that you didn't have to buy today. I've looked on my vehicle run sheet and that vehicle is inbound. It is coming in before your buying time frame. So I just like that. Do you have to buy today? If they say yes, well, there's not anybody watching this video series right now that doesn't know exactly what to do. Time to get aggressive, and all of a sudden, they go, hang on a second, Casey, somebody's at my door. I said, no, that's me here with the Highlander. That's hearing me with the Camry. That's me in four-wheel drive in your new Tacoma. So again, you can get aggressive. I jest, but not really. All right, do you have to buy today? I'm showing an XSE today at 5 p.m. Would you prefer to drive the car before or after 5 p.m.? Again, this is a word track. So my word track would be, I am showing a car. I'm busy, I've got clients, I know what I'm doing, so I'm verifying that. I'm showing an XSE at 5 o'clock. Would you prefer to come in and drive the car? I didn't say, would you like an appointment? I didn't like to say, would you like to come in and walk around with me and talk about buying a car? I said, would you prefer to drive the car before or after 5 p.m.? Now their response is, I'm not going to be able to make it in today, or it'd have to be sometime after 5 p.m. So all you have to do is be listening, and if they say, I can't make it in today, and I said, that's fantastic. I do have some openings later in the week for you to be able to drive the car, which is going to be best for you. So you can just feel in, just be natural, and just say, hey, well, let's make it convenient for you. But I'm also going to ask for them to come in today, but I'm not going to say, would you like to come in today? I'd say, would you like to drive the car before or after 5 p.m.? Tomato, tomato, you guys get it. It's a word track. If you don't like it, don't respond back. Don't go to KC, I don't think that'll work. I said, if you don't think it'll work, you just take your eraser and you take that out of your word track. Easy. Finishing up. Will you be coming from home or work? All right, that question is really important, because if they're coming directly from work, are they the only buyer? Are they the decision maker? Is it a couple that will never buy a car without the spouse or the partner being there? So be careful here, because you can step on your own words here, but I want to know, are you coming by yourself, or are you coming with somebody else? Is this your car, somebody else's car? It's a good way to start that conversation. We'd be coming from home or work, and that number is, and I always start giving directions. If the conversation goes too far, so it starts getting uncomfortable, the customer wants to disconnect, nobody ever stops anybody giving directions. When you're coming to the dealership, it's exit 467A, because they've closed down B, so you have to go with A and you have to take a U-turn back to the dealership. I'm so sorry, but the road construction out here is immense. So make sure you take 467A, not B, because B's closed down or whatever. Or when you come in the dealership, make sure you drive to the left-hand side of the dealership and park in that area over there. So as you're giving the directions, they're listening to you, and immediately you come back with, what will you be driving and who will be with you? What will you be driving? That's my trade. And who will be with you? What will you be driving and who will be with you? I'll be coming in today, Casey. I'll be driving a 5-year-old Chevy Silverado, and I'll be with my wife. Fantastic. So when they come in a 5-year-old Chevy Silverado, I can jog out there and go, hey, Mr. Johnson, great to meet you. This is exactly what you said, 5-year-old Chevy Silverado, man. The truck looks nice. Are you going to be keeping that? So I've got all this information. So real repetitive, right? That's how you study. Catch a pass, hit a ball. More repetitive, the better you get, you become a pro. Sales information, this is KC. What vehicle have you selected? Great, spelling of your last name and your first, so we both have the same information. Grab a pen and something to write on. Jot this down. My name is Casey with ABC Toyota. You call from home or work. Now you're interested in a Camry. Great. A luxury sports edition. Please write down Camry with the XSE package. Good choice. Which model have you driven? I'm back over here now. Do you have to buy today? That's okay. We've got that vehicle. I'm showing a XSE today at 5 p.m. Would you prefer to drive the car before or after 5 p.m.? Would be coming from home or work. What will you be driving and who will be with you? So this is all pretty tight. Let me tighten this up and add a couple more lines, and I'm going to close down phase 3. So give me just a second, and let's finish up phase 3 of digital or incoming phone conversations. All right, finishing up phase 3. So we ended up right here. Write down Camry, the XE package. Do you have to buy today? I'm showing a XSE at 5 p.m. Would you prefer to drive the car before or after 5 p.m.? We'll be coming from home or work, and what will you be driving and who will be with you? So if I got this information, listen, this information can be sent to them digitally. You can send it to their email. This is information that I want. It doesn't have to be on the initial phone call or the initial contact. But once I've got an agreement to continue, I'm going to continue to request information from the customer. I'm also going to supply them with websites and articles, tell them how great their choice is. So I know that when I first started selling cars, that we had evidence manuals and we would send stuff over. I mean, I'm so far back that I would fax an article over to somebody to their office, because we didn't have the internet then. It wasn't invented yet. So All this information digitally now can be transferred in a blink. So if you've got some articles saved, you can send that information to the customer while you're having this conversation. Anyway, you know how I feel about that. Let me continue on with the word track. Should I have an appraiser here, or will you be keeping your car or truck? I mean, this is just a question of, is there going to be a trade involved? I can ask them, are you going to trade your car in? And you know what? There's a lot of people who have been told by other people, don't tell them you're trading your car in, surprise them at the end. I like you surprising me at the end because that means you're here, so I'm not really worried about that. But there's a better way to say it. I would say it like this: should I have an appraiser here, or will you be keeping your car or truck? You know, they just assume that when somebody magically puts a value on the vehicle, if it's a car that we normally don't keep, if you're in an inner city and a guy's trading a giant lifted truck, that's a vehicle that you're probably not going to keep on your lot because it's something that you don't normally sell. I remember back in the day, way back in the day, somebody would bring in a Saab. Well, we didn't have a Saab dealership in the area. The closest Saab dealership was 6 hours away. I promise you one thing, my used car manager did not want that Saab because all he knew was he can't get it fixed. If he was going to get it fixed, he doesn't know if the quality of the work's going to be good if he did it locally. And if he shipped it away, the car would cost too much money to get right. So he would always lowball that. But there was a person in town that would pay all the money for a Saab. So let me give you the old school deal. Will you be keeping your vehicle? And they go, no. By the way, appraisers pay more for clean cars. And I go, so tell me about your vehicle. It's a Saab. And I'm going like, you know what? I'm glad you told me that. Let me make sure that I reach out to a couple of buyers in the market area that pay premium for Saabs. I know one thing, you know, we're a Toyota dealership, and that's not a car that we normally will keep on our lot, but there's somebody in town, now that you've given me some time, that I can contact. And remember, the more money I get for your car, the less money you're having to pay for the car that you buy from me. So now you've given me a reason to come to the dealership other than the car. And I go, by the way, appraisers pay more for clean cars. I've had people for years tell me, what do you mean by that, Casey? Well, if they bring the car in and it's got a dirty diaper in the back seat, I'm sorry if somebody has a squeamish stomach, but I mean, if you've been in this business long enough, you've opened somebody's car up and they go like, oh my, why would you bring this car down here with all the trash and the junk in it and the bag of food that's been in there for 3 weeks? I mean, what person on earth is going to appraise that car at a high value? It's destroyed, it's nasty. But if they take a couple of few minutes and they clean the car out and they run it through a car wash, then what happens is when the car comes in clean and looking like it's ready to be traded in, your used car manager gets excited about it. If it's a vehicle that they know that they can get right now. And I'll tell the customer that. I said, you know what? My used car manager works on a day basis. If he can get a car today, he gets excited. He has to wait for the car for 3 weeks. He's not near as excited. So he gets excited like people buying a car. When you buy a car, you're excited. When he gets a trade-in, he's excited. If he thinks he can get the vehicle today, then his appraisal will always be higher. So present the car the best way you can when you come in. Make it easier for both of us. So that means we can drive the vehicle. So you've given me all the information I needed, and information's a two-way street. So we can drive the car immediately upon your arrival. Call me if you can't make the appointment, I'll do the same. I always finish up with, if something comes up, anything can come up, call me and let me know that you're not going to make it. And if something comes up on my end, I will also give you a courtesy call. So I'm important, you're important, we've got this all together. So this right here is a basic word track. And as I go through this, I mean, everybody would have a tendency to sit there and go, KC says, say this exactly like this, word for word, and never go away from the script. It's not script, it's a word track. You understand why I've done every line on here, what the lines are hoping to get, and it doesn't matter if it takes me 5 or 6 contacts to get all this information from the customer. If I can get this prior to them coming in, it's going to be a better deal for both the customer and me because we can expedite to the delivery. And one of the things that people are telling us now is they just don't like spending 4 or 5 hours at a dealership to buy a car that they've already researched on. So utilize this and make sure that your word track is exactly what you want the word track to be. Be so versed in your word track that if the customer starts, yeah, I'm getting a car for my son, it's going to be his very first car, and you know, I'm buying it right now, his birthday's not for 4 months, Let the customer tell you the story. Do not interrupt that story. Obviously, the story means something to them or they wouldn't be telling you the story. And immediately after they finish the story, go, that's great, fish word, spelling of your last name and your first, because you're going right back to your word process, because your word process is solid. The only thing that makes every digital incoming customer or incoming phone call different is the customer. The more you can identify that customer as an individual, the greater chance you have. This is what the request was, to set the appointment. I've erased that. The better chance you have for an agreement to continue. You can continue with this customer long enough that you can deliver the vehicle to them, the ATV, the motorcycle, the airplane, the yacht. It doesn't make any difference. The most important person is always the customer. The bigger you make it, the bigger it is. This has been PK52, the Saturday morning meeting. Remember, this in a class format, we talk about overcoming objections. We also talk about what I do after as far as prep for the customer to come in on the car. So catch me somewhere in the nation teaching Sales Line 1, which is the name of this program, and you'll get the basics and then you'll get all the extras. It's always a pleasure. I'll see you guys next week.